Roche Genentech last May was granted breakthrough status for MPDL-3280A. Of course, it's not clear what exactly the FDA means by breakthrough status and what level you have to achieve, but they've designed a large phase 2 trial with 2 different cohorts of patients. One were platinum ineligible and the other were patients who were platinum failures. It's going to be very, very interesting based upon what you said before about the issue about chemotherapy, whether those platinum ineligible patients who are chemotherapy naive will respond or not, because we may see a very, very different pattern based upon what their prior exposure to chemotherapy or other agents was.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think if it follows the pattern of what we've observed so far, is that I think we have an active class of drugs. And then to try to decipher out what might be contributing to activity is a good problem to have, so to speak, as we move forward. So as you were talking before, Evan, we don't have a single drug that's approved in the FDA, by the FDA. We're following guidelines, and what is the standard of care? We struggle by saying the standard of care, but if we have a drug that's FDA approved, this would be the very first time in close to 30 years.
Exciting times for bladder cancer, certainly, and I think that a lot of things are beginning to converge. I mean, certainly the issue about combining angiogenesis inhibitors along with these agents is a question that is going to be asked, whether we're going to be looking at combinations like we see in melanoma, ipilimumab, and anti-CTLA-4 being looked at together. Of course, you'll start opening up more toxicities as you start increasing the number of treatments, and different ones as well that may come forth. I mean, we certainly have seen, as far as response goes, this issue about pseudoprogression with some of the immune agents, where there may be some swelling of lymph nodes from tumor and the patients may not actually progress. So we're going to have to rethink our response criteria as well for this disease.
Absolutely. You know, and actually that goes back many years. In monoclonal antibodies, we'd see growth and then regression of disease. And what are we seeing? Most likely, we're seeing infiltration might be part of the growth, or it's taking time for the immune system to really respond to the antigens of importance. So you're right, we're going to have to decipher through these, but on the other hand, when we're looking at response, we're no longer talking about how much in terms of reduction of disease, we're looking at benefit for periods of time, and that also is really important.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is that the current set of clinical trials that are ongoing with checkpoint inhibitors take into account potential for pseudoprogression.
Right.
So you can treat beyond that initial progression
right.
and wait till the next time point to see if you might be dealing with pseudoprogression. So
Exactly.
I think that's important to account for.
Exactly.
And there's a whole family of new drugs coming down the pipeline from multiple, companies. And so, although there's only 2, for example, that have been used in melanoma in combinations, we're going to be looking at multiple combinations in the near future. And that's why dissecting out the mechanisms of response is going to be so important for us as we get into that next generation. Here's where biology, much like next generation sequencing, here's where biology is going to play a major role in being able to build a foundation for these future studies.
And all 3 of our institutions are also involved in a large trial that's looking at targeted therapy with monoclonal antibodies linked to cytotoxic agents. And I think these are going to show promise over the next several years. And again, integrating these treatments, looking at particular markers and how we can target tumors better, I think is going to be the trend of the future.
Absolutely.